So much for being with us today, and just really glad to have the chance to talk with you. I feel like it's been a while since we sat down together, and
Yeah.
wanted to talk with you a little bit about what you are so passionate about when it comes to coaching. What are the things that you love doing, and why do you like doing this so much?
It's really a privilege to work with people and help them achieve their potential. And I know that we are carrying with our clients their dreams, but a lot of times I work with clients who don't dream big enough,
Mm.
right? And it's really something special to be able to see potential in somebody, to be able to work with them to communicate that potential in a compelling way so that they can achieve everything that they were on this planet to achieve. And that's really what I feel like we do. We do it in what seems like a small way because we're working on their business school applications. So that's like one finite part of their life. But actually, as part of that work, we help them really get clear on the impact they want to make in their careers, in their lives, well beyond the time they graduate from business school. And then we help them line up the resources and the opportunities they're going to need to help catalyze that change. And that's just a huge privilege. And that's why I'm passionate about it.
What do you think is, and we've talked about this over the years, but is the thing that you love bringing to your students? What would you call your coaching superpower?
Mm. I'm really good at piecing together a narrative. So I
Mm-hmm.
think what, not all, but a lot of people who we work with, they know that they have good parts, right? They've got a good GMAT and they had a good undergrad and they have good work experience. And what they don't understand always is how to piece that together in a narrative that is compelling in an environment where a lot of people have those great things,
Right.
right? So when you are on an adcom and you're reading application after application after application, like you and I have both done in our careers, you're pulled to the ones that have a great story to tell and who can really communicate their impact and their vision. And that's what I'm great at helping
Mm-hmm.
tease out from clients and helping them really drill down and communicate that in a really powerful way.
And it's not always so easy.
It's not easy at all, especially not easy because you don't have an unlimited amount of words in which to communicate that story, right? I mean, everybody's life could be a memoir, everybody's life could be a novel, but in a lot of applications, you're talking about 1,500 words, maybe less, that you really have to communicate that along with all of the pieces that are going to support that, like your GMAT score and your transcripts, et cetera. And that's not a lot. That takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of refinement. It takes usually many, many, many drafts. And that's after the work you've done, really just teasing it out in their minds, right? And so
Right.
it's a hard process to do on your own. And that's where I think the real value of working with somebody comes in, because it's hard to get that perspective to do that on your own effectively.
And somehow having it, stating it or writing it and having somebody reflect back to you, I find incredibly powerful. So you're not kind
Yeah.
of like weaving through it and wondering on your own, but having
Mhm.
somebody to go through it with you can be so
Absolutely.
important.
And I think, the kind of people that we work with tend to be very high performing,
Mm.
really ambitious. And this process is one, at least I find, that is iterative.
Yeah.
So, I think what I find a lot that the clients really trip up on is they want their first draft to be their last draft.
Right.
Right. And it's really not going to be that way. So one of the things I'm always saying is, like, forget about the word count
Yep.
on any essay in your first draft. I want all the content there. I want it to be messy. And in fact, our final draft probably won't even look anything like your first draft. And yet the first draft is the critical step you need to take to get to that final draft. So yeah, I think it's very helpful.
You've worked with so many different kinds of students in your years of advising and counseling. Is there a story that you can share with me that you found was a really good story? It doesn't necessarily have to be a success story, but a student that you felt made this dramatic transformation throughout their process with you?
Well, I have so many.
I know it's hard to
um,
choose.
yeah, it's hard to choose, but let me tell you one that's top of mind.
Okay, great.
And I've got my phone here, so I might actually read some texts because one just came in yesterday. It sort of goes back to what I was saying at the beginning, where we hold their dreams, but actually some of our clients don't dream big enough. I had a client very recently in this last year who came to me working on a couple of schools, and all very, very good schools, M7 schools, top 10. And he and I had the opportunity to meet in person, which doesn't always happen. But he was in another country and he flew into London where I live. We met in person, and I just got a chance to really, really know him as a person earlier on, I think, in the process than maybe we would normally. And because we were so early on, I just had this sense from our work together. And then when I met him, I just said, I just think you need to apply to Harvard. Harvard's not the end all be all. It's, plenty of other great schools, and all the schools that he was applying to are great, but he had a really compelling vision for the impact he wanted to make in his career. But he had a low GMAT. He had, a low for any M7 school. He had a 680. And I said, I know you probably opted out, but I just have this feeling. I think you should apply. I'm not making any promises, but I think you should apply. And he got in, and he would not have applied had we not had that conversation. And he has since, he just started this September.
Oh,
so he's since been sending me texts, and I'll just find some, because it's really been, I feel like I'm on this journey with him. And in fact, when he called me to tell me that he'd gotten in, I sort of knew what the call was. And he called me and I said, "Are we going to Harvard?"
That's the best.
Yeah, it was absolutely the best. And he said, so he wants to start an impact fund after he graduates. And he sent me a text saying, this fund might actually become a reality. Now we're recording this in October. So he's been in class for a month? I mean, classes started late this year, and they're half online. And he said, we really have to talk. The environment here is really pushing me to do this. It's an incredible atmosphere, and I'm really convincing myself. Stay tuned.
Oh, what a great text.
It's absolutely incredible to think. I knew that this was the right community for him. And, it's Harvard, so I know how that sounds, but sometimes you work with people, and this happened more than once, where I think this school isn't on your radar, but I just feel like you'd fit really well there. I feel like these are your people. And it doesn't always happen, but it often happens when you get that sense, and then they do apply, and then their lives are changed because they're right in their element. And so that's one of my favorite stories today.
I love that story. I hope that you'll forward his texts to us so we can sort of follow along with you.
Yeah, no, I absolutely will. Yeah.
So Cassandra, I know that you have an MBA and you've worked with MBAs for a long time. Do you have things that you feel from your own experience that have kind of followed you, and just for people thinking about MBAs that have, allowed you to pursue the kind of work that you find so rewarding and personally fulfilling?
Yeah. One of the things I often say is I went to business school to transition into consulting, and I did that. I made that transition. But actually what I got from business school was so much more than a career change, because first of all, I didn't stay in consulting that long. Like a lot of people, it was kind of a finishing school after the MBA for me, and then I went on to go do other things. But what it really gave me wasn't just a career change, it gave me career freedom. So I got a call while I was still a consultant, headhunted to come lead a practice with a small, high growth SME here in London that was a social enterprise. And I knew I could take that risk because I had, this brand behind me. I'd had the experience behind me. I had the network behind me. And I can point to a couple of times like that in my life when I decided to go independent. when I made another change, when I had my son, when I started my podcast. All of those are risks that I don't think I would have taken without knowing that I had this incredible brand, this incredible network,
Sure.
and also just kind of a general toolkit behind me.
Well, I love talking to you today and hearing the stories of some of the students that you've worked with. I'm so glad we were able to spend some time together, Cassandra. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.
You're welcome. Thanks. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.